Hello and good morning students. Today we will learn about the occupation therapy. So this occupation therapy has been used from a long time after the patients recover from mental illness and sometimes for patient to get a stable life after discharge from the hospital. So let's see what's its definitions say about the occupation therapy, an active method of treatment with a profound psychological justification according to Clark 1963. So, and according to Clark, he simply defines that an occupation therapy means where we give a treatment method where a psychological justification, what individually justify related to his thoughts or his or her view or perception is justified through an occupation therapy. An activity which engages a person, resource, time, and time is composed of skill and values according to Reid and Sanderson. So according to Reid and Sanderson, it is simply says an occupation therapy where individual is involved in activity which makes a person engage in certain work, okay, with the utilization of his or her time and where the skills are used. Means for example, it is not necessary if every mentally ill person is not having certain capacity, certain skill, so the certain skills can be a painting, or it can be a dancing, it can be a good cooking skills, it can be a stitching, it can be anything, okay. So in the occupation therapy, what we will go do, we will get involve the patient in the works where his or her interest is there, his or her skill is there, and to make them engage in the works. I have seen this occupation therapy in one of our clinical posting in our student period, where I have seen many patient has created beautiful painting, very beautiful paintings, and some student patients have also good in sports also, and some were in good in this cooking, okay. In the occupation therapy, first the therapist, the basic funda for all the therapies, that there should be a good interpersonal relationship with you and your patient, first thing. Then there should you must make a trusting relationship with your patient or your client. Once you make a trusting relationship between you and your client, what happens, the patient will definitely try to follow your orders or your commands, whatever you give to the patient. So okay, first therapist makes the communication, good communication through a good communication, so they make the relationship, and slowly they identify what's the patient's interest is, okay. And once they identify their patient interest is, they make them to work on that, okay. When I was in this college time, in graduation time, we were posted to a mental hospital, and there was a patient of schizophrenia. I exactly don't remember what his age was, but across 50 plus, and he was a good businessman, okay. But unfortunately, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia from long time, and the patient has shown various clinical features, and but the occupational therapist has tried to make them recover to get into the normal life. So he was asked, we will make some lime juice for all the students. So how many students are there? Step by step was commanded. So first he was commanded, then identify the number of people in this occupation therapy room. So he counted, slowly he counted, not at an immediate moment he has done. Then once he counted, then he was commanded by occupation therapist, she commanded that how many glass of water we need. He said that this number of students and the number of glasses, he simply said. Then how many means amount of sugar and amount of lemons and amount of salt we need. So step by step was taught, and he made good this lime and sugar juice, okay. So in occupation therapy, patient has made to taught a work according to them, their skills and their times are used, okay. What are the aims of this occupation therapy? We are giving this therapy, certain aims must be there. So develop a relearn, improve and maintain the social communication and occupation skills, meet the client needs in a socially acceptable approved manner, improve the role performance of the clients, improve the quality of life, to take control over lives and overcome their own disabilities, engages the client in a usual constructive activities, attain the highest functional abilities and teach the client care discharge. Okay, self-care discharge. So what are the aims are there? First thing is that to develop and relearn and improve the maintain the social communication and occupation skills. Developing and relearn means whatever the patient has learned previously, he is going to relearn in this occupation therapy process during this occupation therapy duration, and improve and maintain the social communication. Step by step he will improve his or her social communication skill. What's the exact need of the client is also is identified and that is approved and acceptable. Then improve the role and performance of the client, what actual the role of the client is in the society, what the actual role of the client is in his or her family is improved through the occupation therapy. Then quality of life is also improved, because once the patient has gone through a mental treatment, must go for a happy life further. So quality of life is also improve in this. Okay, then to take control over lives and overcome in their own disabilities. So what they have taken control over their lives, what restriction they have to overcome with them, and engages the client in useful constructive activities. Constructive activities means something good output should be there. Okay, and attain the highest functional abilities. Client's highest functional abilities must be attained, and teach the client self-care discharge also. So what are the settings? Okay, how we will create these settings, because you can't give up any therapy in a particular any situation. You have to, some particular setups must be there. So occupation therapy activities are provided in a psychiatric settings like rehabilitation centers, psychiatric institutions, special schools, and community mental health centers, daycare centers, halfway homes, de-addiction centers, outreach home and group homes, and nursing homes and shelter workshops or clinics. So these are the settings where we can provide the patients this occupation therapy, and patient can recover from his illness, and we also get a stable life during after discharge from the hospital. Okay. Then organization of an occupation therapy. So how we can organize this? The first part is the assessment of needs must be there. Okay. Then fixing up the specific objectives. What are the specific objectives? Specific objective means what's your basic criteria, what are the basic things you want to achieve in the patients. Okay, are you teaching the patient painting to get his mind relaxed from the situation, or you giving this painting art and craft therapy so that patient can create his own wonderful ideas in the papers. Choosing right type of work and play, what actual work and play patient can perform. Means if the patient is good in chess, you can't force him to go and play football or anything else. Okay, so first right type of work and play should be identified. Then incentives, what if you have to give the patient rewards. Okay, then motivation should be there, training must be there, because if all of a sudden you can't make the patient to go and cook the food. I have already told my personal experience where patient was motivated and trained to create a lime juice glass for students. So then evaluation of improvement, how much patient is improved from his or her condition and rehabilitations. Okay, so occupational therapeutic teams, who are there, who are easily involved in this occupational therapy teams groups. So psychiatrists must be there, psychologists must be there, psychosocial workers are there, psychiatric nurse, occupational therapist and physiotherapist are the team members. Why these all are there? We may say that this therapist work is there, then why the psychiatrist is? Psychiatrist is the person who